I'm really excited to be sharing my journey with you today. There will be tears. I have tissue up my sleeve because I do like to cry a lot. So I started Forevъr nearly 4 years ago. I'm not going to talk to you about what the money's done for me, but I'm going to talk to you about what it's done for me personally, because I had no belief. I thought I was worthless and that would be unsuccessful, and that's what I want to share with you today. So, growing up, I grew up in a very negative environment. I had a stepfather that told me I'd never ever achieve anything. I felt worthless. Hated school, was put into a class for children that needed extra support. That made me hit rock bottom. I felt singled out. I came away from school with no qualifications and fell into a job that I really didn't want to do, but I had no idea where I was going, and that's because I really struggled with the self-confidence. Then, I won't look at the pictures. I had my beautiful little boy, Charlie, on the 18th of March 2005. You're all naked. That's what I was going to say. I knew that would break the tears. I had my beautiful little boy on the 18th of March 2005. Just 2 months later, I became a single parent due to physical and mental abuse. And I had to go back to work immediately. That completely broke me, that I had to leave my child at such a young age. I was commuting from Northampton to Surrey 5 days a week. Some days it was taking me 3.5 hours to get to work. I was in debt, I was stressed, I was looking for a way out. There were times at home that there was not enough food in the cupboards, and there was even times when I didn't have money to wash my clothes. And I kept that all from my mum because I felt like a burden, and I couldn't handle telling her that. And I used to sit at my desk and think, is this it? Until I'm 65. I knew in the job that I was in, I couldn't go anywhere else. So I was looking for that change. I then discovered Forevъr. I've been following a lady, this is Mandy, my sponsor. I've been following her on Facebook for about 6 months. And I was really intrigued because we used to work together and she was miserable. I tell you, to work with, honestly, I thought, geez, and she seemed really happy. So, sorry Mandy, she's at the edge of the But she thought that I was really loud. But that was because I was inside, I was covering up those insecurities. So I wanted to go and find out what it was she was doing because she was smiling all the time. You can tell from the pictures that she's now very happy, and that's because she gets to work with me. Lucky lady. So, and on what I would say to anybody, that you must never ever prejudge, because Mandy nearly cancelled that one-to-one, and I nearly cancelled because we didn't think that we could work together. Now think about that for a second. Never ever prejudge. Because where would I be and where would Mandy be if we'd never ever went? Really important. So I started my journey with Forevъr in June 2010, and I can remember quite clearly my first planning session. We're talking about what is it that you want. I said I want £1,000 a month, but inside I only thought I was worth £100. I can remember fairly recently I found my goal sheet, and what I'd put on there was really limited. But inside I still thought that I couldn't achieve the things that I'd put on there. I was offered help with one-to-ones, and I said no because I told her that I didn't need help. I did need help, but I was scared. So it took me 5 months to sponsor my first person. That was Cold Market. I was shown what to do, but I didn't want to do it. I knew that I had to pick up the phone. I told her I was, but I lied. I couldn't handle that rejection, so I hid behind social media because I didn't want to pick up the phone because I couldn't handle the word no, because I thought people were personally rejecting me. So I got to supervisor about 8 months later, and that's where I stayed for just over a year, and that was purely through retail. Okay. My baby. Naked. That works. Okay. So, I had my beautiful, beautiful princess on Christmas Day 2011. For any of you that know me in the room, I am Christmas mad. I didn't plan that. I didn't cross my legs. She came on Christmas Day, and I feel truly, truly blessed. I said that I was going to take 6 months off from a business that I wasn't working. Now, looking back now, that was a complete joke because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. But I can remember a real turning point for me. It was about the end of January, and I was sat feeding her, and I looked at her, and I burst into tears. Breathe. And I looked at her, and I thought, my life's complete. I've got my boy, and I've now got my girl. And I said, it took me back to when I'd had my first child and how tough things were. And I decided from that moment on that I was going to do whatever it took to give them the life that they deserved. Was I scared? Yes, absolutely terrified. Because I knew that I had to do things that were going to scare the life out of me. But I would take it back to why I was doing it. And that was my children. I'd found my emotional connection. And I now had a fear of not achieving. And I decided, and I went to work. Many of you have heard deciding to decide. So I committed to making 5 to 10 phone calls 6 days a week. Those first few phone calls that I made were horrendous. The mistakes that I made, I was listening to Andy backstage. I actively encourage my team to make mistakes because that's the only way that we learn. And the only way that I've got good on the phone is because I am consistent, day in, day out, touching my business. So I started picking up the phone, which resulted in me booking one-to-ones, which resulted in me, sorry, my nose is running, that is hilarious. Tissue. So, I went to work and I started picking up the phone, so I started to develop a team. And that really saw my confidence start to skyrocket. I started attending business presentations. So important. That's my night in the office. Success days, trainings. This really, really built belief. Coming to days like this and seeing people cross the stage made me believe that if they can do it, then I can too. And I went to work. January, I was turning over about 14 case credits, and it was at the end of January that I started picking up the phone. February, 14 case credits. March, 25 case credits. April, 73 case credits. May, 78 case credits. I'd done manager. My confidence went through the roof. I can't believe I put this image on here. Anyone recognize that? So, at the same time, I did the Clean 9 program. I'd put massive amounts of weight on due to IVF treatment and getting pregnant. And I knew that social media was a great tool. And I was the lady that pretty much started off this craze, everybody getting their clothes off and doing before and after shots because they knew the impact. I even got recognized in a shop for a lady that took her clothes off on Facebook, and that is the God's honest truth. This generated massive case credits through my business, which helped me massively on my journey to manager. So yes, I never thought I'd be showing 2,000 people me in my pants, which is really exciting. I just wanted to share a quick tip with you, and I don't think Paul Brown really understood that light bulb moment I had on that day. I'd recruited a lady on the spot from a one-to-one, which is not quite normal. And I was stood with Paul Brown at the product centre. Thank you. Put my teeth in. And I said to Paul, why can't they all be that easy? And he said to me, Louise, they are. And I stood there for about 2 minutes and I thought, do you know what? Louise, you're an idiot. From day one, you've told yourself that nobody wants to join your team. Nobody's going to take you seriously. You're not worthy. Because I'd been feeding my mind with that, that's what was happening. And I vowed from that moment on, every single day, I told myself, people will want to join me. So what is it that you're feeding your mind on a daily basis? You know, you need to be feeding yourself all of these positive thoughts and get rid of the negativity, because what you think about, you bring about. So thank you so much for that, Paul Brown, because that had a huge impact. And what was the result of that? I recruit every single month without fail. So thank you, Paul. So, Manager's Retreat. After achieving manager, and my business was ticking over at about 65 case credits, I said to myself before that I wanted to do 100 case credits, but that's about as far as it went. I then went to Manager's Retreat. You can see the parties were absolutely fantastic, but I was really excited that I could spend time with people that inspired me. That was going to be my weekend for learning. I had the absolute pleasure of spending most of my weekend with Chris and Alan Goldsborough, who are so dear to my heart. Yes, I love them. They're amazing. And you know, I'd been shown to use profile sheets, pipeline activity trackers, point sheets, but I never ever really understood the importance, so I never used them. I had scrap bits of paper with people's names and the amount of contacts that I'd lost. I wasn't giving my team tracks to run on, so how could I expect them to move? So I spent my weekend, and Chris and Alan Goldsborough showed me the file that they use, which is coached within Forever. And I came away from that weekend and implemented that into my business, and that gave solid foundations for my team, and that's why my business has grown so rapidly. I also, at that weekend, became part of the Whiteboard Gang, thanks to Bridget and James Moore. I don't know where they are, I've not seen them today. I'd never really volume mapped before, but they showed me how to effectively volume map my business. And I was determined to come away from Manager's Retreat to do 100 case credits the following month, and that's exactly what I did. I was now leading by example. I could now show my team the way. I could show them how to recruit. I could show them how to build relationships. I could show them how to do one-to-ones. I could even show them how to make calls. And I tell you something, the phone isn't that scary once you're consistent. So I started to lead by example, and that's where I got the growth. So much so that just 2 years ago, I had 14 people in my team, and I've now got nearly 700, and that's happened in 2 years. So this is me now. What's happened over the 2 years? Senior manager. In fact, I've got my 4th frontline manager crossing the stage today. Car plan level 2, 100 club, 1,500 case credit, global rally qualifier, network professional level 5, and chairman's bonus, baby. I'm so excited. I've just had my best month ever in Forever. January, I finished on nearly 300 case credits. And when you look back 2 years ago, that was just 14 case credits. And 2 years ago, I was just earning £100 a month from my business, and I've just earned my first £6,000 check. All I want to say to you is, if there's anyone in the room that felt like me, if I can do it, you can too. Thank you very much for listening. Woo.
Right.